When people hear that Rome fell in 476, they usually imagine the Roman Empire disappearing forever. But that's only half the story. The western half of the empire collapsed under the pressure of invasions, civil wars, and political instability. Meanwhile, the eastern half remained wealthy, organized, and remarkably resilient. Centered in Constantinople, this empire continued to function for nearly 1,000 more years. Interestingly, its citizens never called themselves Byzantines. That name was invented centuries later by historians. To the people living there, they were simply Romans. Their empire was the Roman Empire. Their emperor was the Roman emperor. And their state continued the traditions begun centuries earlier under Augustus. This isn't just semantics, it fundamentally changes how we understand the history of Rome. Rather than ending in 476, Rome evolved. Today's episode explores how that happened. The story begins with Emperor Constantine the Great. In 330, Constantine officially dedicated a new imperial capital on the site of the ancient Greek city of Byzantium. He renamed it Constantinople, meaning City of Constantine. Its location was almost perfect. Situated on the Bosporus Strait, the city controlled trade between Europe and Asia, while also connecting the Mediterranean and Black Seas. Natural harbors, strong defensive positions, and enormous walls made it one of the most secure cities in history. As the western provinces struggled, Constantinople became richer and more powerful. Gold, silk, spices, grain, and ideas all flowed through its markets. This strategic position would help the empire survive crises that destroyed many of its rivals. Few emperors dreamed bigger than Justinian I. Ruling during the 6th century, Justinian believed Rome could be restored to its former glory. His brilliant general Belisarius launched campaigns across North Africa, Italy, and parts of Spain. For a time, much of the old Roman Empire was reunited under one emperor again. Justinian also rebuilt cities, strengthened defenses, encouraged learning, and commissioned magnificent churches. His wife, Theodora, proved to be one of the empire's most influential political figures, helping stabilize the throne during dangerous revolts. Although many of Justinian's territorial gains were later lost, his reforms left an enduring legacy that shaped Europe for centuries. Perhaps no building better represents Byzantine civilization than the Hagia Sophia. Completed in 537, it was unlike anything the world had seen. Its enormous dome appeared to float above the worshippers below, creating an almost heavenly atmosphere. For nearly 1,000 years, it remained the largest cathedral in the world. It represented not only Christianity, but also the wealth, engineering, and confidence of the Roman Empire in the East. Even today, visitors continue to marvel at its scale and beauty. The Hagia Sophia became one of history's greatest architectural achievements. One of Justinian's greatest achievements wasn't military, it was legal. He ordered scholars to gather centuries of Roman laws, court decisions, and legal opinions into a single organized collection. Known today as the Corpus Juris Civilis, this work preserved Roman legal thinking for future generations. Centuries later, universities across Europe studied these texts. Many principles found in modern civil law, including contracts, property rights, legal procedures, and written codes, trace their roots back to this compilation. Without Byzantine scholars preserving Roman law, much of that legal tradition might have disappeared forever. Although politically Roman, the empire gradually became increasingly Greek in language and culture. Greek replaced Latin as the primary language of government. Ancient Greek philosophy, literature, and science continued to be studied. Monasteries carefully copied manuscripts that otherwise might have been lost forever. Byzantine scholars preserved the writings of thinkers like Plato, Aristotle, Herodotus, and many others. Centuries later, these texts helped inspire the Renaissance in Western Europe. In many ways, Byzantium became the bridge connecting the ancient world to the modern one. Modern historians use the word Byzantine to distinguish this medieval empire from ancient Rome, but its people would not have recognized that label. They called themselves Romaioi, Romans. Their emperor ruled the Roman Empire. Their legal system was Roman. Their government descended directly from ancient imperial institutions. Even neighboring civilizations often referred to them as Romans. Only after the empire's fall did later historians popularize the term Byzantine Empire, named after the ancient city of Byzantium. Understanding this reminds us that history isn't always divided neatly into separate civilizations. Sometimes one civilization simply changes over time while maintaining its own identity. When Constantinople finally fell in 1453, it marked the final chapter of a Roman Empire that had endured for more than 2,000 years. For nearly 1,000 years after the fall of the Western Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire preserved Roman law, imperial administration, engineering, Christian theology, classical learning, and the traditions of Rome itself. Its influence spread far beyond its borders, shaping medieval Europe, influencing the Islamic world, and helping lay the intellectual foundations of the Renaissance. The story of Rome, then, is not one of sudden collapse. It is a story of adaptation, resilience, and transformation. Rome did not simply disappear in 476. It evolved, endured, and continued to shape the course of history for nearly another 1,000 years. In our next episode, we'll explore one of the most significant turning points in Roman history: how Christianity transformed the empire from a persecutor of Christians into the center of the Christian world, forever changing both Rome and Western civilization. Because the story of Rome didn't end, it simply entered a new chapter.